Okay, we are live. There's no more day counter, right? We've done every day, and now we are going to be live streaming the sold out Intact Global March 29 to 31 conference, baby. Sold out. Now, what we're doing, because it is sold out, is we're doing what airplanes do, right? Is we're going to sell a few additional tickets with the understanding that not everyone's going to show. Just that's what happens with conferences. And also, we are talking with the venue to see what can they do to maybe squeeze in some people around the perimeter, right? Obviously, we're going to comply with all the relevant safety codes, but at the same time, how many people? Because we're using some footprints for the presentation, the presenter, the videographers, you name it. So, but sold out conference, first conference sold out. It's going to be a historic event, and certainly the constitutional challenge filed at the end, right? We're going to start pinging press as well this week. The social media that we got Intact Global's up and running. Thank you, Justin, and also Carrie and everyone else who's volunteering. But yeah, we're seeing many 1,000% increase in views. And say, well, how many views do you have originally? Well, it was commensurate with the following, but now it's starting to grow precipitously. So that's great. And we're going to funnel support to the GoFundMe during the live. So if this is something that you're really passionate about, then donate to the GoFundMe. We raised $30,000 for the GoFundMe, and I said once we raised $30,000, we were going to file the lawsuit, and that's exactly what we're doing. But oh, look at this! We got our first super sticker. Let's go, Ocean Birth. I appreciate that $1.99. So yeah, I guess the stream now is monetized, right? So if you donate to the channel, we'll highlight your comment, assuming it's not obscene, right? Which is a very high bar. I'm actually quite familiar with the jurisprudence around what is protected by the First Amendment and what is not. But yeah, so anyway, I appreciate that, Ocean Birth, and I'll take a look as to what happens after we get a quote unquote super sticker. So thank you for that $1.99. Aran, great to see you again. Yes, hello, Aran. Good to see you. Intaction is going to rock the house. That's absolutely true. Tony Lasquardo, he's coming in Saturday afternoon with the talk, I believe 2 p.m. So we're excited to hear Tony speak. He's a great speaker, high energy, great content. So that's exciting. Some questions. Felico, when will circumcision be banned in the U.S.? That's all I care about. You and me both, baby. Well, the reality is we're going to have to, and I'll talk about this in my talk, the future of intactivism, but we're going to need some concrete legal victories. We're going to need victories in specific states first before we get a federal law, right? Restricting non-religious forced medically unnecessary genital cutting, right? A lot of modifiers there, but for good reason, and we could talk about that more too. Yeah, Ocean Birth, I figured. I appreciate that though. You first. Intaction, we are going to rock the house. Yes, totally. Sold out conference. We're stoked, Tony, that you're going to be there. Which is, we have great numbers, great venue. Everything's going to be beautifully filmed. And also everything is going to be live streamed on this particular channel, right? So it's going to be this actual exact URL too, that will be, on YouTube, on X, on Twitter. Oh, that's the same thing. On Instagram, maybe we have to look up how that works. So there's some things we still need to work out, which is why we're testing this now. But yes, as Ocean Birth says, hi, Tony. Ocean Birth will be there as well, helping with the streams. So yeah, anyway, we are, it was mission success, right? We have 6 more days to the conference starts. We're already sold out. We're gonna sell some, we're selling a little over capacity now with the understanding that 1, not everyone's going to be in the room at the same time. And 2, some people, something's going to come up or they can't make it or whatever. So yeah. But I am extremely happy. It's an extremely successful event. It's a very, very strong complaint. We've got exceptional local counsel who actually was the attorney on the case that established marriage equality in Oregon. That's epic, right? That, and our whole legal strategy is based off of what the LGBTQT community was able to achieve through strategic impact litigation, culminating in Obergefell v. Hodges in 2015, right? From the first state, which was Massachusetts, mind you, my home, right? Massachusetts in 2004 made marriage equality a right, right? No matter what your sexual orientation. In 2004, and in 2015, it became a federally recognized constitutional right. It took 11 years. That in Massachusetts was the first one for like 5 years, and then other states were like, "Oh, we'll do this too." Our plan is to do Oregon and then do a whole bunch of other states right on its tail, and to take that 11-year window and make it as short as possible, and that depends on how much support we get, right? And so the way to support right now is support the GoFundMe, right? We're at 30K. Let's see if we can get to the 50K by the end of the conference. Maddie, great to see you. Welcome back to the stream. So what we might do, and what I was doing for a while, right, like 26 days in a row, is I would go to the actual, how should I say, conference webpage and run through what's going on, right? And so that's what I'm going to do right now, just real quick. I mean, the tickets are sold out. Actually, you know what? We're selling some final tickets, so maybe I take that back. But I'll run you through what's going on. We're starting to get a lot more views on the conference page as well. So the reality is, these extra tickets might sell out quickly, and then I can get admonished by the hotel event manager saying, "Stop selling so many tickets." So anyway, there's a clickable link, or there should be a clickable link, and you guys can let me know right here. And if you go there, I'll show you, we've made some updates to the conference. So we actually have additional speakers. And there's actually one last speaker too, who I said would love to speak. I'm just waiting for his title talk, but he's actually has a lot of history in has some history in anti-circumcision litigation and protecting children. But March 29 to 31, that's in 6 days, right? In Portland, Oregon, and it will be a historic event. It really is. Now, the discounted hotel rooms, we probably have to remove that. We did sell out the room block, so that's great. But I think that link is no longer working. So if you want a ticket, email me. I'll connect you with the hotel sales manager, and he can get you the discounted rooms, but he has to do it on the back end. But yeah, so this is where you can buy the final tickets. Where it's no longer actually early bird, it's just regular bird. It's actually kind of double booked bird if we're going to be realistic about it, but it is what it is. So the conference we've got 2 great days of presentations, including from Intaction, who's with the stream, but also, GALDEF. We've got Doctors Opposing Circumcision. We've got 11 attorneys speaking. We've got 3 out of 5 of Intact Global's board members who are going to be there and giving a talk. It's going to be, and then we're going to have panels of different interest groups. So one, we can create those connections both at the panel and afterwards, and you can ask questions and think about, if you're in attendance, how can I get these individual groups who represent different nonprofits or organizations, how can we work together? Because that's how we're going to prevail, right? It's not just Intact Global or Intaction or GALDEF or, Intact America, who's not there, but, that's how we're going to, I say, prevail, is by organizing and collaborating, right? Because opposition is very good at this, and since we have a much stronger position of protecting children from harm instead of affirmatively harming them, right? We just need to be more organized and coordinated. So, and that's what we're doing. And we have a sold out conference, so we're doing a pretty good job already. And we're going to get a lot more attention, publicity. The reality is, this is the human rights movement of the 21st century, is what it is. And so, of course, people are watching and interested. And this could be the first major legal victory in this movement. I think maybe like 10 years ago, a court in Germany said it violates child's human rights circumcise him. And then Angela Merkel is like, oh, we can't talk about that because of historical reasons. And, kudos for doing that, but, maybe not the country to start. But America is the country to start, right? There's a lot of great things about America and a lot of things that can be improved. And this is definitely in that latter category. And so that's what we're looking to do. Aran, great question. Any last hopes of expanding the founders dinner seats? I know the laws are challenging there. Well, one, I appreciate you recognizing the laws are challenging there. I leaned on the Multnomah Whiskey Library. They said no. I had our conference manager, Justin, do the same thing. And they said no. And I've had to literally uninvite people because it's already oversubscribed. So the answer is unfortunately, but definitely not. Right. But there's going to be another dinner going on and it's going to be just as cool. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people going and, I wish I could attend both. And if I could do it again, maybe we'd get a bigger venue. But the difference in price was like $3,000 for 22 people, or it was like $12,000 for the big 50 person in the same venue. And I was like, look, $9,000 is not a prudent use of our resources right now. And the founders dinner was more expensive to cover the cost of the dinner. And then it was just like not a modest donation to Intact Global. So no, the answer is no. I'm sorry, Ron, but there'll be plenty of opportunities to meet, to mingle, to discuss, to strategize, you name it. Like we got two and a half days and not every minute is scheduled. Right. But going back to the conference. So this is where it's going to be held, right? The Sentinel, beautiful venue, both outside and inside. And there's a reason we picked it. I actually flew up to Portland from Los Angeles, scoped out 10 different areas. And yeah, here's the lineup right now. We've got 3 of Intact Global's board members. Then we've got Tim Hammond talking about, because GALDEF has a similar mission statement to Intact Global. And then we've got Tony Lasquato from Intaction right after lunch. Then we have the executive director of Doctors Opposing Circumcision. And we've got Carrie, 2:30 to 3. That is our last speaker who will reveal in the coming days. I've been working with him for a while, so, no hard feelings, anybody. We've got Carrie Cantrell talking about intersex bodily autonomy, because the reality is, we're not just protecting boys from genital cutting, but also intersex children. And, we want to protect girls too, but the federal and state law already protects girls. It's like making a point of standing against foot binding of children. It's like, yeah, we're opposed to it, but nobody does it, at least in this country. So it's not really like a thing, right? And even if, I'm sure female circumcision occurs in a very small percentage of cases in the US, but it would be, highly illegal and extremely frowned upon, right? Whereas male genital cutting is like, oh, how much can I charge for it, right? Sign right here so we can charge, this public purse. That doesn't happen in Oregon, but in many states. So anyway, Michael Anika, who's a good friend of mine, I'm pretty sure outlawed child marriage in Uganda, so he's kind of a heavy hitter. He's got a great network of human rights activists throughout Africa, and we tap in and support various types of litigation continentally and vice versa. We would love their support. We have a great dinner lined up. And then on Sunday, it's all, Michael's a lawyer and the other speaker, so John Geisler is a lawyer too, and the other speaker is a lawyer. And then we've got all lawyers on Sunday. That's the litigation day. And just coming back to your comment, Ron, so sad. I wish I knew about it sooner. That's okay, though. We're very excited to go. Oh, really? You got to cancel? Oh, we're super happy to have you on. I know, we do our best with scheduling, but yeah, it's you made it before the tickets were unavailable, which is great. And is Intact America and Milos Georgiane involved with the upcoming lawsuit and conference? Well, I think Marilyn Milos, she's kind of retired. When you're in your 80s, you can kind of do that, right? Georgiane, I invited, but didn't hear anything back. Jake, if I lived in America, yeah, that's probably not super helpful. But anyway, the conference link is below. Oh, I guess I'm no longer there. But yeah, the second day, we got Martin Navoa, a longtime friend of mine. He's been an Intactivist for like his whole life, since middle school, right? Zenas Barr, who's been an activist for at least 30 plus years, because he filed a challenge that was similar, like in the 90s, right? This was well before, society was ready to reckon with its widespread infant genital mutilation. So, kudos to Zenas, and maybe we can, and I hope to get him more involved in intact litigation moving forward. Peter Adler is primary author, along with Samer, but primary author of the Oregon complaint. So he's a legend, and he's also the most published in the legal literature on genital cutting and why it's unlawful, and essentially gives you what's called causes of action. That's why the title is Circumcised, Can I Sue? And let me give you a little spoiler. Yes, you can, right? The question is, we have so many resources, so what's the best use of resources? And if we raise a whole bunch of money, we can file a lot more lawsuits, either like Oregon or different types of lawsuits, as Peter will talk about. Lake Paraguay, we're very, very grateful and lucky to have Lake joining us. He is Oregon local counsel. He's got extremely excellent reputation and history. I mean, he literally was the plaintiff that established the constitutional right in Oregon to marry who you love, marriage equality. This was before it became a federal constitutional right in 2015, right? He was a trailblazer of constitutional rights before. He was also involved in getting Oregon to recognize intersex individuals as a distinct sex, right? It's not, or maybe it's gender nonconforming. Regardless, he's been on the front lines of really important civil rights litigation in Oregon. And, it's, as he said, a logical extension of his advocacy. So we're extremely happy to welcome Lake. If you see him there, definitely introduce yourself and say, we're stoked to have you on the team, which is totally true. We're very pleased about that. And then Brad Kane, who's a dear, dear friend of mine. I actually learned how to litigate under Brad. So, he's probably given me the most lucrative skill that I will ever get. But anyway, he's a brilliant litigator and a brilliant messenger, or let's say marketer. Like, he's great at creating messages that resonate. And that doesn't mean, graphic or shocking, but things that people can get behind, like protecting every child. Intact Global, protecting every child. Ending genital mutilation, one child at a time. I'm not saying that those are his slogans, but he is good at, let's say, communicating to, let's say the undecided, the passive middle, the mushy middle, as I sometimes call them. So we very much look forward to hearing from him. And then Deborah Ashagian, she's been on the live streams a couple times. And she's going to talk about her experience growing up in a conservative Jewish community in Los Angeles. And she became an intactivist only a few years ago when she learned, oh my God, circumcision is actually genital mutilation, and we are damaging our Jewish boys, widespread damage to our Jewish boys and men. And we don't want to be damaging our children, do we? So why don't we stop? I know that it's heresy, but we've done a lot of things that are heretical, or that are heresy, that not stoning gay people to death. That would be heresy back in the day. And now we all recognize that would be a hate crime, right? So, maybe it should be unlawful to mutilate an infant's genitals. That is something that a lot of countries are grappling with, and we're going to challenge the practice in Oregon, right? It's a great place to start. And then we've got John Silla, who's also a dear friend of mine, and he's the reason I became an attorney. And he's going to wrap up. He's going to, he teaches at University of Chicago. He taught both business and law, and that's like arguably the number one business graduate school in the world, right? Or law too. I mean, anyway, he's going to talk, I think, about some inconsistencies in the law. He's also an advocate. He's the president of the American Institute of Bisexuality, and he's seen huge, huge victories in that movement, from, 1% identifying as bi or some negligible amount to bi erasure in the LGBTQ community to 24% of Gen Z identifying as bisexual, like 1 in 4, right? And if sexuality is on a spectrum, which is more or less recognized in the scientific and medical community, then it would make sense that most people are not on the extreme ends, right? Just statistically. So we're seeing the younger generation identify more with the biological reality of sexual attraction. And then we'll have a panel of lawyers. and then I will give you the final talk, which is, okay, it's actually called The Future of Intactivism. And I'm going to talk about the future of intactivism, because we could be in endgame territory soon, right? If we do this right, if we organize, if we collaborate, if we support each other. So these are all things that we want to see happen. The founders dinner, as Ron asked, totally sold out like multiple times. So again, it is what it is. But that's what's going on. I will answer some questions. And just so you know, this stream, this particular URL, whether you're watching on YouTube or X or Facebook or potentially Instagram, although I have to figure out how you recycle streams on that one. This is going to be the URL that live streams the conference and also the press conference after we file the constitutional lawsuit in Oregon. So the reality, save this URL. I'll be live streaming in every day on this. And if that changes, I'll let you know. But that's the plan. And yeah, donate to the GoFundMe if you can't make it to the conference, right? And if you can, buy one of those bonus tickets. Because again, we're sold out, but I think that we can fit some people around the perimeter, right? And again, not everyone's going to be in the room at the same time. And there's going to be, probably 1 or 2% of people who just can't make it because something comes up at the end or they get sick or whatever. So yeah. So some final comments. Okay, we covered that. Cynthia says, I wish I could be there. I wish you could be there too, Cynthia. I enjoyed meeting you in the past, and we're going to have more events in TAC Global as we sue more states. So this isn't going to be like I spoke with Michelle Krimwaldi yesterday on the stream, and then also some text exchanges. And so she knows what type of plaintiff profile we're looking for in Massachusetts, and Peter Adler's licensed in Mass, and he's of counsel to the Glauber law firm, so we won't even need additional licensures or additional lawyers, right? We could just go forth and do that. If we can find a regret parent, someone who circumcised their son in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, or 2025 in Massachusetts, who now regrets it because they later got accurate information, realizing, oh my God, this actually damaged my boy, right? And had I had accurate information, or if Massachusetts had adequately protected my child from this harm, right? Because it protects female girls from similar harm, then I wouldn't have been harmed, because I suffer from emotional distress, and my child obviously has a scar on his genitals where a big part of it was removed. Talk about a harm. So anyway, Samer Safarini, that's the law clerk. He'll be there, and he is in my eyes a legal legend, right? And I have very critical, right? Yeah, and I went to Georgetown. I was not easily impressed. Not that that's not a great law school, but yeah, Samer is next level. Are you selling merch at the conference? So the first 30 tickets we sold, we had swag bags. I don't have the canvas bag with me, but it's a shirt. You can pick your size. We have a hat. We have a sticker that says some of these chemicals may harm you. That's California law. And so we'll include that for sure. And then we have a canvas bag. We don't have like additional merch on hand. At some point, we'll probably have like a online store that like fulfills the orders for us and ships it for you. And so, and then, part of it's a donation to Intact Global, but we're working as much as we can. So the answer is we're not selling merch at the conference. But there may be some stuff that you can get. Yon God +1, you know it, baby. Samer is a second-year UVA law student, extra smart, right? High praise, which is true. And Peter Adler went to UVA as well. And I was looking at some of the judges that we might, how should I say, get. And a lot, some of them went to UVA. I was like, interesting. So that is where the revolution started, the American Revolution, and it's where it continues, baby. Because this is a revolution in human rights and children's rights, and it will be the human rights movement of the 21st century. And when we started this conference, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure there's demand for this. I think it's time to do this, right? Like, I'm in a professional position where I can do it. And The movement wants it. It makes sense. It's politically and socially applicable now. There's a lot of, even on both sides of political aisle, there's ways that you can frame this where it's very supportive, recent developments. And I'll talk about that in my talk, The Future of Intactivism. So yeah, we're definitely, we're in striking zone, and we're gonna go for it, right? That's what we do. I've never been accused of not going for it, right? So yeah, and as Oshaber says, I have some great shorts that you could share on your social media. So definitely like this channel, subscribe. This will be the channel that we're going to live stream the Intact Global Conference on. And we're going to link to the GoFundMe during the live stream. So hopefully, if this goes super viral, we got thousands or more people streaming in, and, you know, mega influencers repost this, and we raise millions of dollars on the GoFundMe, we could sue every state in the nation. Seriously, like, well, maybe 10, you know, with $1 million. But the reality is, we can make this into a national issue, like, in short order. This is not theoretical. It might become a national issue just with the Oregon lawsuit. I'm not promising it will be. But if we then sue another state, and then another state, and another state, because after my trial in Los Angeles, right after the conference, you know, and if we raise the necessary resources, then, you know, we could just do this. My law firm could do this full time. I would love to sue states on constitutional grounds of sex discrimination because they only protect girls from genital mutilation, not boys. I would love to do that full time, and I would be really, really good at it, as would Peter Adler, who hopefully can help depending on his schedule, and I think he would be down. And also Sammer, but also he's, you know, a second-year law student, as you know. So we are well positioned to do this. And if we raise money, we can also hire other law firms in different states. And that's always the plan. I mean, like, we hired Lake, right? We retained him to do this. But we're going to be doing the heavy lifting because, one, we're cheaper because Peter and I have definite deep discounted charity rates to do this. And my law firm hasn't charged in a long time because, you know, it costs a lot of money to do this conference, right? I mean, we can cover it, but the reality is, you know, I'm happy to float a lot of or at least some of the expense, certainly the litigation expense. But if we really want to scale this in a big way, we're going to need to raise, you know, significantly more money. Now, if we don't, we're still going to do the Oregon litigation as well as we can, regardless. But if we want to sue Oregon, and we want to sue Colorado, and we want to sue Texas, and we want to sue New Hampshire, and we want to sue Massachusetts, and we want to sue Florida, and we want to sue Illinois and Delaware and Virginia and Maryland, and you name it. Like, if we want to go ham, go after it, and, you know, that's what I would like to do, we're going to need to raise serious capital. And if the internet gods, all of you, want to see how competently we can do this in Oregon, first, that makes sense. But, you know, you'll see this is an extremely strong lawsuit. It is a great culture at the state of Oregon to do this. The people are ready for this. They don't really mutilate their kids in that state. It's a negligible amount. It's like 1 in 10 right now. Maybe less, actually. Maybe it could be closer to 1 in 20 if it's a 10% circ rate and only half of children are mutilated. So, you know, 1 in 10 boys, that's 1 in 20 children approximately. That's about 5%. Now, I have some circumcision numbers I talk about in my Oregon, in my presentation, but, you know, I don't have recent circumcision numbers in Oregon or the rest of the U.S. because it's not really shared. But we're going to decimate them anyways, baby. So as Eric says, go Sammer, absolutely. Iran, do you think there's any chance the more challenging states would pursue answering these lawsuits by going the opposite direction? Well, you know, the reality is, and I've heard someone refer New York as this before, as the final boss, right? That's funny. We might sidestep it entirely. Like Obergefell, the marriage equality in 2015, it's not like every state had marriage equality. Or Loving v. Virginia, it's not like every state permitted interracial marriage when the Supreme Court said, look, it's a federally recognized constitutional right. Everybody gets it. So, you know, we might be able to not sue the more difficult states and still get national protection. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's not, as they say, put the cart before the horse. Let's put the horse before the cart. right? And right now our horse is Oregon, and we're going to take that as far as we can, as fast as we can. And if internet, you want to see more of this type of high caliber legal work, this important constitutional advocacy for the rights of children, then support monetarily, promote this particular stream. That's easy. Like it, certainly share it on your social media, subscribe to me, subscribe to Intact Global, donate to Intact Global's GoFundMe, right? If we start getting serious donations from that, we'll sue another state in the near future, right? I can more or less assure you, assuming we get, the plaintiffs, which I think won't be a problem. That's what's going on. As Maddie says, Trump seems like he might be an ally. He wants to cut $10 million of funding for circumcisions in Mozambique. Yeah, it's the first time, at least in my memory, and I'm keeping an eye out for this type of thing, that America has defunded circumcision actively, like on the federal level. So yeah. Bite that big apple. Yeah, that's funny. We're not we want to win, right? And it's just too much resistance in New York. In Massachusetts, you could argue too, but I'm from Mass, and I think that, I'm hoping that the people of Massachusetts respond, right? I'm a, proudly born Massachusetts young man, right? And we're here to protect and liberate our children from the chains of genital mutilation, from the scars that we impose upon them. I mean, it's just lunacy. So yeah, anyway, we're going to wrap up. As Everett says, protect children, totally. So this is going to be the URL we're going to live stream the conference at, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Great to see a lot of you again. Iran, you're the second super sticker, baby. Yeah, let's go. My full-time job now is soliciting super stickers from YouTube, now that I've made $2.97 or 98 cents, excuse me. So yeah, no, but Epic, I appreciate that super sticker. I don't even know where the money goes, but we're just doing a test run with that type of functionality. But yeah, I look forward to meeting you around at the conference. You said you may be bringing a guest as well. Thanks for coming on, everybody. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, 6 days and the sold out conference begins. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night.